You see all these other freelancers who are starting out, beginners, they manage to stand out, manage to find jobs pretty easily, but you don't, and I didn't. Why is that? And in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the most important things that I've learned on Upwork to help you get there. Because believe me, there's a lot of things that you probably don't know about Upwork. Otherwise, you would have had some success by now. What you want to be aiming for is you want to be aiming for a strategy that allows you to get all the clients that you need, typically 2 or 3 job offers per week, while working less than 2 hours a week trying to find these jobs. If you spend like 10 hours a week trying to find clients, first of all, I think a lot of freelancers, I know me included, probably you included, don't really like having to find jobs. So the less time that you spend trying to find jobs is typically more free time for you and more money overall, because all the time you try to find clients is not time that's getting paid. So you want to keep that time as low as possible while still getting enough job offers, good job offers, so that you have all the jobs that you want and have all the free time that you can have by limiting the amount of time that you spend trying to find clients. So why you want at least 2 or 3 job offers? Typically, that's more than what you can accomplish per week. At that point, you can choose which one you work with. And I think one of the keys to getting a good freelance lifestyle is being able to choose who you want to work for and refuse the jobs that you want to be working less for, or refuse clients that when you talk with them on the phone or interviews or whatever, and you find out you're not really a good fit, you don't really like them, you don't want to be working with them, you want to have enough job offers so that you can refuse to work with these clients and have your freedom of working with who you want on the projects you want. So to do that, to get a lot of job offers in a few amount of time, you need to start applying to the right type of companies. What you need to understand is there's a lot of job offers on Upwork. There's thousands of job offers that you could be applying to, but there's a lot of variation in the results that you can expect to get if you offer your services to some types of companies versus other types of companies. That means that there's some companies that if you target them, you're going to get a higher percentage chance of getting hired than other types of companies. You want to make sure that you're only sending proposals, you're only offering your services to the types of companies that have the highest percentage chance of wanting to hire you. What this does is that because you have a higher percentage chance of getting job offers, what this does is that you need to send less job offers and less proposals to get the same amount of jobs. And that's one of the biggest keys to making sure that you have your free time and you don't spend a ton of freaking time just sending proposals and wasting time on companies that have that probably will never hire you anyway, because the likelihood, the percentage chance that they hire you is too low. You also want to make sure that you have a good proposal template, because one of the biggest time wasters when it comes to trying to find jobs on Upwork is, writing your proposals, writing your cover letters to all the different companies that you apply. This takes time if you don't have a template, if you're writing it from scratch every time. And the more time it takes per company that you contact, the less companies that you can contact per hour. So you need to write a good template and make sure that your template is as good as possible, so that it increases the percentage of people who end up offering you jobs after you send them your cover letter and proposals. Later in this video, I'm going to share with you how to find really good cover letter templates and proposal templates. Very easy, the easiest method that I know, that in just a matter of couple of minutes of work. But before that, I want to keep talking about how you find companies that have a higher percentage chance of wanting to hire you. Okay, there's a lot that goes into it. I actually made a video on how to find the right types of companies to work for. There's a lot of things that you can do to find them. There's a lot of factors. If you want to check out the video, I'll put a link in the description, just so you know. However, it's a video on how to find companies to hire, to offer your services to through outreach. That means cold email, cold calls. And so in that video, I show you how to find local companies that are good fits. However, you can use the principles that I teach in that video And instead of looking at your local market, you can look at the Upwork market to the same type of eyes. But the biggest tip I can give you so that you can follow it and fastly filter out most of the bad companies that you can apply to, the companies that have the lowest chance of hiring you out of pretty much all other jobs on Upwork, is this, okay? Common knowledge tells you that when you're starting out as a freelancer, you want to start out by applying to low-paying jobs with companies that are looking for an entry-level developer, a beginner, okay? You want to apply to jobs that don't pay a lot and they're looking for beginners. How does that sound? Truth is, that's the mistake. That's the mistake that most people are making. If that's the type of jobs that you were trying to apply to, well, I'm not surprised you didn't get a lot of results. Actually, when it comes to Upwork, the problem is with these types of jobs is that most people believe that's the case. Most beginners who start out on Upwork try to get these jobs exclusively because they don't think that if they apply to higher paying jobs or jobs that are looking for intermediate developers, they don't think they have any chance at all of getting hired. But here's the thing. The problem is that because every beginner thinks that the only jobs they can get are low-paying jobs that are looking for beginners, they all compete for these jobs. And who do you think you're competing with? You're competing with beginners from people in all countries around the world, from Bangladesh, Pakistan, Mexico, people who are typically probably willing to be working the same job as you are, but for less money. They're probably offering that person $7 an hour, $6 an hour, something, prices you could offer. But the thing is, you're never going to prosper on these prices. Let's be real, a lot of beginners on Upwork either give up very fast because they find they don't have the success that they're looking for. Maybe they don't find jobs at all because they only apply to these jobs that are highly competitive. And because they're highly competitive, there's a low percentage chance that they get hired. So even though they apply to a lot of jobs, they still don't get hired, so they get desperate and give up. Others only get hired a few times or get hired with only low wages, so they end up making not enough money to live off of Upwork. So a lot of these developers end up working full-time or part-time in another job to stay alive, while hoping that through these gigs on Upwork, these low-paying gigs, they'll eventually make enough low-paying gigs or medium-paying gigs so that they can quit their other job. But typically their thought is that they can only move up to higher paying jobs once they have a steady flow of low paying jobs. And the problem with that thinking is that it's probably never going to happen because these low paying jobs are too competitive. You don't want to end up in either category. What you want to do is you want to start applying to intermediate jobs or higher paying beginner jobs to begin with, the type of jobs that most people who starting out would be intimidated by, the jobs that most people think they couldn't get. But the problem is that if you want to get these jobs, what you want to have is a good profile, which is good because most people on Upwork do not have a good profile. If you have a good profile, you have a profile that looks professional and you have a good cover letter, you have a good proposal template, you're way ahead of most developers on Upwork. And you have to understand that most people who hire freelancers, who give jobs to freelancers, are not tech people. They're not people who know a lot about programming. They're basically normal business owners that don't know much about computers at all. So if they look at a good profile, even if you're not technically an intermediate or you don't have a lot of experience, you look like someone who does. You look like someone who's good. So if you look better than someone who's an intermediate who has more experience, well, to someone who doesn't know a lot about programming, you look better. So who do you think they're going to hire? You. In a lot of cases, just having a good profile and applying to better jobs, higher paying jobs, or intermediate jobs is a lot easier than just trying to compete with the beginners. True, you could get a good profile and just compete with the beginner jobs. But because there's a higher competition, you're still going to get a lower percentage of people who are going to hire you if you apply to low-paying jobs and beginner jobs than intermediate and higher-paying beginner jobs, surprisingly. And because of that, as a beginner, you should jump straight up to higher paying beginner jobs or intermediate jobs. Anything that is not too big, but just big enough that most beginner developers who have typically learned online, don't have a degree, anything that's big enough so that they would be too intimidated to apply to. Not something that you can't see yourself being able to do, but something that you would typically not think that they would be willing to hire a beginner for. But because you'll have a good profile, you will not look like a beginner. I'm going to be real with you. When I started on Upwork, making a profile for me was very intimidating. I didn't know how to do it. I did my best. I spent hours on it, but let's be real. I'm a developer. I wasn't a writer. I don't know how to write a bio. I didn't know how to do any of this. So I did my best, but because I didn't know anything, I didn't make a good profile. I was not a photographer. How do you expect me to know how to take a good picture? But here's the thing. Other people have figured that out. Other people have figured out how to take good pictures, how to make good bios, how to make all the steps of the profile really good, how to make good proposals. Other people have figured that out. And that's true for a lot of things in business. You can either go through the hard step of figuring that out, or you can just go see what other people are doing and model that. Okay? The easiest way to get a good profile is to model good profiles and model good cover letters and proposals. And the way you're going to do that, what you want to do is you want to start creating a client Upwork profile. What that is not a profile for freelancers trying to get freelance jobs. You want to create a profile as if you were a company that was offering jobs to freelancers. So you want to create that client profile. Should probably just take you a couple of minutes. And once that's done, you want to create a fake job for freelance web developers. The kind of jobs that you yourself are trying to get. Okay, you want to make exactly that kind of job. And what you want to do is after that, you wait a couple of days. And after that, you come back and you see all the developers who have applied to it. First of all, you're probably going to be shocked at how many people have applied to that job. Especially if you keep the prices on the job offer low, you're going to understand the amount of competition there is on the platform. And within a couple of minutes looking at all the profiles, you will see clearly which ones of these people typically would be hired by that your company if you were a real company looking for freelancers. There's a lot that will stand out and a lot of them that will be shit. A lot of profiles look like shit. So what you want to do is you take the best profiles. You're going to see some of them. Some of them stand out because they have a great picture. Some of them stand out because they have great text that's, interesting, funny, or to the point in their bio. Some of them have really good portfolios. Some of them have really good sounding mass market online courses. So what you want to do is take all the best parts of all these profiles that you see and you try to model them to create your profile. You see one of them that has a great job name, steal that. You see one that has a great bio or one or two that have great bios, model that, create something similar. You see some of them that have good pictures, like maybe you don't have the equipment to take the best pictures in the world, but take some of them that look good, that you feel that with the equipment you have, or the funds if you want to hire a photographer, that you could emulate and model. Chances are your profile picture right now, if you haven't had a lot of success, is probably not that good. Looking at good profiles is going to show you good roadmaps that you can follow to improve your profile. And let's be real, you have been, by creating this fake job offer, in the shoes of an employer. You see what an employer sees. You see what kind of profiles stand out. Just create that same kind of thing. You will have received cover letters, proposals. You see which ones look good, which ones stand out. Within a couple of minutes, you will have templates that you can follow to make good proposals and cover letters, because you will have received good ones yourself and you can just model that afterwards. But from there's a few things that you need to consider. First of all, Upwork is a good platform to help you find a lot of job offers that you would never have found anyway otherwise. For me, I think is the best place to find cool projects that I wouldn't have found otherwise. But in my opinion, it's not the best way to find clients as a web developer. It's not the best way to find jobs. It's not the fastest way, and it's not the way that allows me to find the highest paying jobs. So maybe you should also consider at least looking at other options of finding jobs. I'll list in the description a video to my playlist where I share with you my favorite methods of finding freelance jobs, my most effective method that I've used. And also what you need to understand is that there's a lot of fake jobs on Upwork. There's a lot of scams. There's a lot of people who are trying to steal your time, steal your money, make you work for free and never pay you in the end. And I made a video on how to spot these fake jobs so that you know how to spot them and not apply to them and not end up working without getting paid. So what I recommend is that before you start applying to a lot of these jobs, you want to click right here and go check out that video. I'm going to share with you all the red flags that you need to check out for to avoid getting scammed on Upwork. Subscribe if you want to see more tips on Upwork, and I'll see you soon. Take care.